Hello everybody, welcome to the show where we play interesting chess games. That's the new tagline, which I'm sure will catch on greatly, because if there's one thing I do, it's I play very exciting chess. Not trying to grind it out, but always sacrificing all my pieces, left, right and center. And if you want to be the victim of one of my ferocious attacks and my ferocious German accent, then you can challenge me to a 5-minute chess game. If you are a premium member on chess24.com, you challenge me to a 5-minute chess game. I might accept your challenge or not, and then we might play an interesting chess game, because that is what we try to do here, while simultaneously discussing whatever movie I've seen last. Which today, it's Spider-Man Homecoming, which was pretty good. Like, I still think, what am I doing with my life most of the time while I'm sitting in these movies? I'm a 38-year-old man, believe it or not, sitting there watching a superhero movie, the 7th installment of something based around a teenager that was bitten by a radioactive spider and who's now fighting villains. But with all that out of the way, that was a decent Spider-Man movie. I haven't seen any of these amazing Spider-Mans, the Tom Holland vehicles, but I like the one I saw yesterday. Michael Keaton, pretty good actor, pretty good villain. Normally they don't have good villains in these Marvel thingies, so I enjoyed it. That's pretty much all I have to say for today. Let's choose an opponent and play him. While trying to breathe. Why am I doing this to myself? Sometimes I just feel the need. Who, a FIDE Master? FIDE Master rated 1950? That does not sound like a value proposition for me. Mr. Martin Jokstad. I'll do my thing, knight f3, c4. Oh, and he's one of these King's Indian dudes. They do exist out there. And we can't hide from them. Just gotta live with the reality that there are people out there that will play the King's Indian and be unapologetic about it. Put the knight on a6 and pretend it's part of some master plan, that this knight is so flexible, so much more flexible than on d7. Can jump to b4, can jump to c5, can do nothing. After rook e1, c6 is the main move. And bishop g4 is a move. Can you do that here? Hang on. Queen e8, bishop f1, bishop g4 I'm familiar with. But bishop g4 here strikes me as a little odd. I'll go d5. Not sure that is the most critical test, but normally they only play bishop g4 after bishop f1, where it seems to be making more sense. Well, here he has to go back now. I'm not sure if this is the way you're supposed to do it. Then again, I don't really know these things very well, because my King's Indian Dar is not very developed. That is one of the very few weaknesses I have as a chess player. I'm not very good understanding King's Indian structures. That doesn't mean like I'm hopeless, blah, 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 and that I've never seen a King's Indian before, but I do not have a great sense of danger in these positions. And it has cost me many a precious point. I'm already starting to misplay this, just to hammer the point home that I don't know what I'm doing. I'm self-fulfillingly making it messy. Here, EF, I don't have knight e5. Maybe I do, actually. Bishop e5 and c3 is hanging, but then rook e5 looks kind of interesting. But now, let's play... I was going to say let's play more classically, but I have no idea if this is classical at all. Long story short, I don't know what I'm doing. And I've been doing what I don't know slowly. Knight f4 is interesting now. Then it's gonna be, yeah, a big question. Which knight is more unstable? Mine on h4 or his on f4? I would not be able to take immediately. f4, what's going on? Can you do that? Why can't I take? Je ne comprends pas. I don't get it. What is this all about? I think he just blundered a piece, no? Is there a hidden point to what you're doing, Martin Jokstad? I don't see it. I honestly do not see it. Nah, he just blundered. He missed that his knight on h5 was under attack. So even with my well-known lack of prowess in King's Indian structures, an extra piece normally does make my odds fairly favorable. Did I switch the sound on? I didn't check in with the chat. Sometimes, you know, you talk for an hour, don't have the sound on. It could be awkward. Can I take? Would be a great pity to give up this nice bishop though. Yeah, let's keep it. Can take this. Let's not forget, this is the show where we play interesting chess. And yes, I did steal that tagline from Comedy Bang Bang, the show where they talk to interesting people, which I also don't think is catching on very well. Brave Sir Robin is saying, Jan clearly auditioning to be either the next Bond or Bond villain. Shouldn't they look very different though? Can I look like either the next Bond or Bond villain? I think I'm more of a Bond villain, honestly. First of all, I don't think James Bond should be blonde. We've had this discussion before. Therefore, with all due respect for Daniel Craig, he didn't look James Bondian enough to me. Secondly, I do have the German accent and the criminal energy that really make me more of a potential villain than... Like here, I could win with knight g5, but being the villain I am, I want to humiliate my opponent, even at the cost of not winning the game, which only a Bond villain would do. Like, Mr. James Bond would just wrap this up with knight g5 and not play queen h7. But this is the show where we play interesting chess, and therefore I had to go for queen h7. The point being that this is a double check, as far as I can tell. And I've seen many double a checks in my days. After king h8, knight g6 check looks like a very tough check to meet. So I do believe this finale qualifies me as more of a Bond villain, really. So Bond producers, Broccoli family, if you're listening, I'd probably do it. Oh boy, this is sad. Yeah, beautiful game. Thanks you. Thanks you. See? That more evidence I should be the Bond villain, because I can say things like thanks you credible, which only the villain would say in his thick accent. Let's play another game d'échecs though. Wow, WDBEW seems to be big fan or big enemy of the program. Could be like a Schrödinger's cat, Bond villain or Bond situation. He does have the, what do you call this, the thumbnail? I never understood why you call that. As his profile picture, and that earns him a proper crushing. This is the so-called London system, which has become more popular than cocaine recently, because everybody's doing it, and as far as I know, not everybody's doing cocaine. So I believe that logic does hold water, and Carlsen, Kramnik, Kayakin, Anand, Grishuk, those are all the chess players I know, but they're all playing the London system. It has gotten so bad that nowadays I even play e4, c6, d4, d5, ed, cd, bishop d3, knight c6, c3, and then bishop f4 to get this same structure. The so-called Karlsbad, reverse Karlsbad, is that what you call it? I'll call it that. And if black commits to cd, ed so early as we have here, then normally white's position is quite pleasant to play. I probably should have thrown in h3. I frankly didn't think he would go knight h5. That's what you get for underestimating WDBEW. Because now my bishop has to go to this very awkward square on e3. When had I just played h3, I could have gone bishop h2. And everything would have been clockwork. I would have occupied the e5 square and slowly but surely checkmated him. Now I have to deal with all these unpleasant threats like f5 to f4. And I have to make very sure not to lose all my pieces. There was a game Giri so, where something similar happened and black went f4 here. Here doesn't work because of queen h5. That's an idea to keep in mind. And Giri got a bad position out of the opening very quickly. But I said it doesn't work because h7 is hanging. There's not a lot of care regarding the h7 square executed by my opponents today. I'm not sure if that can be my plan to take over the world as a Bond villain, just checkmate people on h7. But maybe. Now the problem is I can't be a German chess player. Like, Germans aren't associated with chess mastery. So I would probably have to be a Russian chess player if I want to be a chess player. But then my Russian accent is less good than my German accent. Therefore, actually my German accent is really just messing up the TH. So, don't know. Anyway, thanks for the game, WDBEW. Shall we play another game? Maybe against SC James. What does the SC stand for? Sean Connery James? Nah, Stephen James. Sean Connery James Bond. Ties in perfectly with our theme. And also with our other theme, the show where we play interesting games. And those interesting games can be played in the Trompovsky as well. Knight e4 is not my favorite move. I normally go to d5. But sometimes you got to spice it up a little. You got to live a little. Taste something different. Travel the world. Give a check on a5. e4 is a mistake. Or is it? Does SC James know something? I don't know. e4 I've never seen. And I've seen so many things. But I'm guessing this is part of his master plan. Even though I don't understand it. It just looks... Frankly, can I be very frank here, SC James? It looks nonsensical to me. e4 and queen takes d4, losing all this time. Why would you do that? In this position, you can go knight to d2, that's one main line, cd, knight b3, or you can play the most principal move, d4 to d5. But e4 and queen d4 does not look right. After e4 cd, I thought your point was to go b4 and then try to recapture with the pawn. But this stuff, and the fact that you took a lot of time for queen f2, makes me believe that something has gone wrong and I should punish you for it. Any normal move like g6 or d6 or e6 look perfectly fine, but I'm already motivated to blow the position wide open after the cd and queen f2 maneuver. If he goes e5, I have knight h5. When hopefully nothing too bad happens to me, but it looked fine. Bishop g5 is more provocation. Because now Mr. Bishop will occupy this very juicy diagonal with tempo. And it's starting to get more and more murky. Murky? I couldn't think of a good word. I'm a foreigner. I'm not too afraid of b4. I have a feeling that knight takes b4, queen b4, then should get the job done. So I did allow that. What to do next? Rook d8, bishop e6. So many good moves. Still not afraid of b4. Maybe one day I should start being afraid. Be afraid. Be very afraid. But that day has not arrived yet. Come on, do it, SC James. This is the show where we play interesting chess games. If you play knight b3, it can't get that interesting because you can't recapture. You should have played b4 when... Yeah, honestly, I thought that my initiative had to be more or less crushing here, but I didn't think it all the way through. Like queen a2, intending bishop b3 looked tempting, or bishop a2, intending bishop b3, rook d7, playing rook d8. Queen b6. Well, there's lots of ideas, but I think he had to go for that. Or try to develop. But yeah, mainly e4 is just not a good idea in the opening. What are we talking about? Jan, have you ever beaten Bluefield over the board? What's Bluefield? Is that like Blofeld, the James Bond supervillain? Or do you mean German chess grandmaster Matthias Bluebaum? I have never beaten either over the board. But I believe the only game I had against Bluebaum was in this Hereford Rapid tournament, where he barely escaped by making a draw. And I told him, you must do better in Dortmund, Matthias. You must focus. And that's what he's been doing. And he's leading the tournament. 1.5 out of 2. Shout out to Matthias Bluebaum. Great job in the Dortmund tournament. Defeated the man on fire, Fedoseev, the other day. I'm not sure why I used a Russian accent when I told him that. That is what happened. Is that a Russian accent? I don't even know. I don't do very good accent work, to be honest with you. But I do good crushing work of 1600 rated opponents. And I shall continue that line of work against Pedro Iban Feria, rated 1633. And he does hold the crown. He plays the French. Against the French, I've always had more sympathy for the move knight d2. Because it's more in line with my chicken nature, not to allow it to get pinned by bishop b4. After c5, there was a brief flurry of popularity for starting with knight f3, not e takes d5. But in my days, people played this. This line is actually very solid. Knight f6 and bishop d7, and then take back with the knight. And you do have this one isolated pawn, but it's not such a big factor. And black is supposed to be very close to equal here. The computer will normally call this equal, but I was sitting next to who was I sitting? Next to Paco Vallejo when he had to defend this line against Kayakin for 1,000 moves, and he did not look like he was enjoying himself very much. So with this pawn on e8, on d5, sorry, the rook on e8, there is always some potential for suffering. Therefore, I think this line is not that popular, even though, for all I know, and I don't know much, it's perfectly playable. I've made what looked to me to be logical moves, like covering the d4 square 8,000 times. There is some debate if that's really the way you should play against an isolated pawn, to cover the square in front of it, the blockading square, 18,000 times, or if you shouldn't use your pieces for doing something useful. But here, these moves just seem to be consistent with the nature of the position, whatever the H or the F that means. I was slightly worried that he would checkmate me with queen d6, bishop c7. Well, it's hard to manufacture. First of all, still have this knight here. Secondly, it would expose some weaknesses in the black position as well. So far, Pedro Iban Feria is playing much better than 1633. Are you one of those guys who's secretly a strong player? It's not very active on Chess24, therefore has a low rating. Those are tough for me. They're like sleepers, like hidden terrorists that are super strong, but don't reveal their true strength or colors. Not sure that analogy worked so well. I'm also not so sure knight c2 worked so well. It's a typical device to open the floodgates towards the t5 pawn, but I have to be very cautious about this horsey. And yeah, I know that some people like to call the horses knights, but professionals, they prefer the term horsey. So let's think. Knight f4, knight d5, knight h3, g8, queen h3. Shouldn't work. Does scare me, but it should not work. Should anything else work? Knight f4, knight d5, queen c5 takes. Hope not. Can I take the pawn? I understand I announced this was gonna be the show where we play interesting chess. And I've given it an honest try for like 2-3 moves. But I'm back to the roots of grabbing every pawn I can get. Pedro Iban Feria, not willing to go away, goes for counterplay. Oh, did I have a cute move here? Did I miss queen c4? No, queen c4 didn't work. Sorry, I'm going slightly mad. Gimme. I'm wondering if gimme is the word I use most on this program. It's probably not, but I still do use it a lot. Queen coming to d2 is slightly unpleasant. Not unpleasant enough to stop me from taking more pawns, but slightly unpleasant. What's up in the chat? C. Hernandez was not a fan of my previous. I believe the spelling is Previoouth. And those of you who will say, no, Jan, you're not correct, just Google it. It is spelled with an S. I don't believe you. So you did not like my previous haircut. That's what you're saying. You are saying I should get a haircut more frequently. Like, keep it trim? I don't disagree. I'm just lazy. Brooklyn Bobby. Brooklyn Bobby does have a profile picture where he reveals his own haircut. And he says that we are discussing the hair. Fair enough. Bram Van Einaten says, thanks, but probably not to me, because I did nothing thankworthy, at least from Bram's perspective, today. WDBEW says, I just moved, LOL Jan, and to answer your question, I'm a huge van. I hope he means fan, because if you was a huge van, I think technically you're not allowed to participate in Banter Blitz if you are a vehicle. Like, this is not Transformers. There are no Decepticons, no, I don't even know what these things are called. Autobots. You can't play here if you're a van. Let's clarify that. Dutch Defender says he liked my old haircut better. Yeah, the thing is, it's all the same hair. I never really get a haircut. It's just sometimes it's shorter, sometimes it's longer. I've given up on the concept of like doing something clever with it. But yeah, it did get a little short this time. Then again, that might help my chances for the Bond villain role, right? Yeah, I should try not to lose this game because of some embarrassing blunder. And I have a feeling I'm doing my very best to help Pedro Ivan Feria get counterplay. But I do have all these extra pawns that should shelter me from evil. And apparently I was wrong earlier. WDBEW clarifies that he is not a motor vehicle, that he did mean fan and not van. So thanks for clearing that up. Apologies if I implied that you might be a Decepticon or an Autobot. I'm not sure what's worse. Who are the good guys? I've tried watching one of these Transformer movies, but I only lasted like 5 minutes. Those are just absolutely unwatchable. Therefore, I'm not very updated on, or I don't know anything about anything really. Is Optimus Prime, he's an Autobot? Autobot sounds like they're probably the good guys, right? Decepticons, I think deception is frowned upon in the automobile scene. So I'm guessing they're the bad guys, but I could be wrong on this. Anyway, thanks for the game, Pedro Ivan Feria. Played very well, but you gave me that pawn. And that's what I said. I have had move 4. This line, it's a decent line. It's supposed to equalize. But there's this weakness to consistently worry about. So if I was black, I would play queen takes d5. I will never do this because I'll never play the French. But if I had to play this position, I'd go queen d5. Like most of the German kids do. Like I think Svani always plays queen d5. Bunch of noobs here today. I'm always happy to crush new people. Is this like an onboarding ceremony? Buddha 77. Last time I checked, Buddha was spelled differently. So what do you have to say in your defense? Buddha with an O77. Is that a misspelling on purpose? Is it a reference to something else? Or do you believe that is how Buddha is spelled and you are a Buddhist? Buddhist. Which one is it? Also, are you there? Are you not there? He is there. He goes d4, d5. And I feel very London-y today. I shall play another bishop f4. Bishop f5, not a bad move. Played by everyone's favorite Anish Giri against Magnus Carlsen. Just, going for symmetry. Not the cemetery, but symmetry. There's a difference. Keeping the option of going bishop d6 very early. It's a very solid line. And I applaud Buddha 77 for being booked up to the eyeballs in the London. Bishop g3, I'm not sure about. You could argue knight e5, take on d6, whatnot. But bishop d3, normally, if they want to exchange the bishop, at least they should open up our rooks file. So we get something out of this transaction. XX Clemens XX is asking, when does come the next Geschwätzblitz? German dude saying, what are you doing? We know you're German. Stop speaking the common tongue all the time. And I understand. Thing is, more people understand the common tongue, as you can see, by the number of views for that stuff. Having said all that, I'm trying to mix in the occasional German version of this show. I don't know when. For now, I think next Thursday there will be one of these banter, whatever we call them, one of these tournaments where you guys can participate, and I'll be playing the tournament, 9 rounds of 5-0 at 6 p.m. That's the next Dortmund rest day. So that will probably be in English, or I know it's going to be in English. And maybe the week after that, when Dortmund is over, we can have a little Geschwätzblitz. But yeah, I do those a lot less frequently. And I blame you, German viewers. If there was more viewers, I would do more. I'm driven. I was going to say I'm numbers driven, but I'm really not. I'm a terrible math guy. I'm driven by stopping you from castling. Buddha 77. So, I don't know. I guess my answer was, I don't know. A5 looks like a good move here, intending queen b4. And had I spotted that option earlier, I might not have played queen a3. But I did not spot it in time. WDBEW says, Jan, play the Larsen. Don't overdo it with your funky opening, demands WDBEW. I know you're feeling yourself after you cleared up the fan van situation. But let's not ask for anything too crazy. And Fuchsia wants a banter show in High Valyrian. Did they make up an entire language of High Valyrian for Game of Thrones? I think I could probably do a show in Dothraki, but High Valyrian I have my doubts. Now, are you watching the video, Buddha77, or do you think of A5 all by yourself? It's probably technically not cheating if you hear me talking about some move and then make it, but it still hurts my feelings greatly. That's not true either. It just hurts my feelings if I don't win. That will turn me into a huge crybaby instantly. If you don't believe me, watch any show where I don't win a single game and witness the whining that ensues instantly. People are trying to help us, or help me, clear up this whole Buddha situation. I'm being informed that Buddha is the name of God. I don't think that's correct technically, but I was mainly wondering about the added O. Uh-oh. As for the game, I didn't really think this through. I was hoping after knight c3 I would be able to take on g7 or on b7. Rare that you have a choice to take either that pawn or that pawn. Well, after ef, I'll do something Probably knight takes e4. And then argue that my doubled a pawn is tremendously useful because it opened the b file. I can attack the b7 pawn. Not sure if any of those things are true, but I will argue them. See, Hernandez says the language of Mordor. Do they have their own language? I always switch off when these orcs appear on the screen because they scare me too much. Like Urukai I can handle. They look more human-like. The orcs, I don't want to hear their conversations. Therefore, I'm not even sure they have a language in Mordor. I keep studying that chat. Please don't ask me to play you, because I want to play all of you, and I hope all of you want to play me. So it's always so hard to give in to these demands and neglect the people that have not used the chat to say, let's play, let's play, let's play. Can I take that pawn? I feel like I can take that pawn, but I also feel like it's not priority number one. Because maybe I want to take that pawn, and then that pawn later. And my king on d2 does a nice job. You can see my plan to pretend like this pawn structure was very useful for me, because I would be able to use the b file, worked to perfection. This pawn, yes, I did this on purpose, will drop. And I have a feeling this pawn, THs are very tough for us Germans, shall drop as well. I also have the idea of going g4, g5 to undermine the d5 pawn, but let's not go too crazy. Everybody go crazy in the places that I be. See? Oh, this is a good move. Did not see this coming. I thought it was going to be smooth sailing from here on. But rook b8 found a little bit of counterplay. Which will probably make me question everything instantly. Alright, so rook a5, rook b2 check. Annoys me. But I can't see anything better. Bit surprised he went rook b1 check when he could have used that time to just take on a2. Especially since he went back. I have a feeling something went a little wrong there. He gave me a few tempi that might come in handy later. But yeah, I was celebrating a little too early, which I have been guilty of pretty much every other game. How do we wrap this up? Probably just defend the pawn. I'm setting the stage for some rook f7 cheapo. He doesn't want me to do that. This is actually a good move. Oh boy, why do I always have to play for cheapos? Now I have to worry about the knight coming to b2. And therefore I had to play this. Which is good enough, but still not very satisfying. g4 just. For the future. Do it for the kids. So this pawn stays weak. I don't know, I've lost all will to live during this game. That's a bit of an exaggeration. But it's so hard to stay focused when you just know you will win on time. That is the big problem that I am dealing with. Apart from the fact that I'm still confused about the thanks for the game though, Buddha77. Fought back very well. Shall we play another one? What about Shakespeare? Is that like a pun and on Shakespeare? Or what's Shakespeare about? Or is your name Pierre? Pierre? I doubt it. D4 knight f6. Let's keep doing the London thing. This is a tremendously educational show for fans of the London that like it misplayed. Knight c6. Not what people typically do, but whatever makes you happy. I'll bite and go c4. Because the good thing is, you don't have to play the London on autopilot and play c3, h3, knight f3, knight e2. You're actually allowed to move the c-pawn 2 squares if you were so inclined. Bishop f5, I guess I should bring the knight out. Yeah, this has transposed into some sort of Chigorin-like position. Some sort of Chigorin-like position. Could I hatch even more? Knight b4, rook c1 does not concern me all that much. Knight e4, the one trick that I'm aware of is that if I go, let's say, bishop e2, bishop b4, rook c1, there's knight c3, bc, bishop a3, trapping this rook. Having said that, I don't know how I'm gonna stop that. I'll just make moves. G5 also interesting here. Or bishop b4 followed by g5. Mr. Shakespeare putting pressure, but he changes his mind halfway and says, you know what, I don't want to put too much pressure, I just want to play it safe from now on. I was flying too close to the sun and I didn't like it. I didn't want to get burned after bishop b4. But bishop b4 and then queen b3 I was going to play, and then g5 looks like the way to do it. This is how you do it. And yes, I know I'm a fantastic singer. Can I go here? Just because now he's given me the idea that he wants to play very tightly, so he's not going to play long castle or something aggressive. Therefore, queen b3 could scare him a bit. Pawn hanging, pawn hanging. Oh. Lefty John is asking, Jan, have you seen Alonso? Is it the shoes? What are we talking about? I have no idea. Alonso as in the Formula 1 dude? I don't watch Formula 1, so I'm not sure if that's the reference. Or does it do something else now? I literally don't know what we're talking about. Chespierre is saying, you know what? I don't believe you that you really want to grab this b7 pawn. You don't know me, Chespierre. I will go to even greater length for simple pawn robbery. Let's hope this works out. Sometimes I just take pawns to keep this narrative of me being this huge pawn grabber going, even though my instincts tell me, not sure. But this is not one of those cases. This looked like a proper pawn grab. I'm even threatening to go bishop b5. Therefore, it's all good, baby, baby. Rook b2 would be the normal move, but bishop b5 looks like a bit of a nuisance, doesn't it? Rook b2, bishop b5. He does have knight b8. Takes, and hilarity might ensue. But after rook b2, I'm not forced to do anything crazy either. I was gonna say I can just castle. Still knight b8. Interesting. Brave Sir Robin says, some people come for the chess. I personally watch these shows for the random 1990s song references. Much appreciated, Brave Sir Robin. As old people, we don't have any recent references. Like, I don't even know who did Despacito, Suave Suavecito. But I recently got a, what do you call this? an Apple Music subscription. So now, who knew that you can get all the music in the world with these subscriptions? So I thought for a while I should like catch up on recent stuff. I tried to listen to this Jay-Z 444 thing, and I thought, nah, let's go back to Jay-Z's greatest hits. Give me some, Hard Knock Life. Give me some Lucifer. Don't give me this new billionaire rap ways bragging about, like, what was he talking about? I didn't really listen. I bought this painting for 1 million, now it's worth 8 million. Congratulations, Jay-Z, but I don't know. Your hungry ass stuff I like better. But yeah, I've been going back to a lot of 90s music. Because I don't really have a music taste. It's all just 90s hip-hop and I got stuck there. I was listening to, what's the first Fugees album called? The only one? Fujila? I don't know what it's called. That's good. As for the game, I'm doing well. Should I grab another pawn just because I want to establish the pawn grabbing reputation? Why not? Cardinal Super Blinds says, I don't want no scrap, and I very much hope that this is The Other Guy's reference. The Other Guy's, some people would say, the best movie of all time. And they would be right. Where... Oh, this is actually Michael Keaton, right? The boss of the police force, played by Michael Keaton, who also happens to be the villain in the movie I saw yesterday. Mild spoiler alert, but no, not really. Anyway, Michael Keaton in The Other Guys makes constant references to TLC songs and pretending to have no idea what he's talking about. He tells his cops to not go chasing waterfalls. I'm sure you guys were thirsting for that information. Well, I took like 8 of Chespierre's pawns by now, which is probably tilts the odds in my favor. And yeah, I'm aware 8 might not be an exact count. It's very hard to be 8 pawns up when your opponent still has 5 pawns. It's almost impossible to do. But it was enough pawn robbery to win the game. Here I was winning more material after 96. Take it. And b7 was gonna drop. What are we talking about? XX, Clemens XX says, these 10 euros were the best investment in my life. I guess I should be glad to hear that. Even though I'm slightly sorry to hear that. Even though this is a great investment. The best investment in your life. I would wish, XX Clemens, that you bought, like Time Cop style, some stock in like 1901 that has 8,000 times the value nowadays. But still, I'm glad you like it. I guess that's what it means. And I shall crush Hesse James. Is this gonna be the assassination of Hesse James by the coward Jan Gustafsson? It's very possible. And a very underrated movie. I would say one of the best movies of the last, I don't know when it came out, 10 years. Is it called that? The Assassination of Jesse James by the coward James Robert Ford? Let me Google it. It's a very good movie. You guys should watch it. I'm not joking for a change. Yeah, The Assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford. Fantastic movie. Like when I say stuff like The Other Guys is one of the greatest movies of all time, I'm normally joking, even though I do enjoy dumb comedies, and The Other Guys is a good dumb comedy. But The Assassination thingy is a really good movie. Anyway, Hesse James does not seem to be here. Oh, just as I was about to... I can't play London every game, can I? I start feeling dumb. Let's move the bishop one more square. Here, this is not a very good move. After knight f6, it's still not great, but slightly better. But after d4, d5, bishop g5, both f6 and h6 followed by c5 are fairly strong. Still, nothing wrong with knight f6. I've argued the black side of this in my recently published video series. I'm gonna keep saying recently published for the next 5 years, so it looks like I was busy, where I am talking about how to deal with d4 sidelines. After e6, I'll go e4, offering to transpose back into the French. Is this the French? I think after bishop f6, we get a theoretical position of the French. gf6 is a move here, or bishop f6. Problem is I don't know anything about this, but neither will Hesse James, let's face it. You normally get this position after e4, e6, d4, d5, knight c3, knight f6, bishop g5, de4, knight e4, bishop e7, bishop f6, bishop f6, knight f3. I do expect all of you to follow all these lines I'm spitting out in your head. If you can't do it, pause the video and go over it mentally. Bring up a little chessboard. Bang, 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 bang. And again, that might make it take 10 hours to watch a Banter Blitz. As full as I am of myself, I would not want to spend 10 hours on one of these videos. See, Hernandez is asking, give us a little nugget on Dortmund, Jan. Yeah, the thing is, Kramnik really screwed this one up for us. We were gonna go all in on the narrative. Oh my god, can Kramnik catch Magnus Carlsen during Dortmund and overtake him as world number 1? Watch our premium show where we give you all the details. But then Kramnik lost in round number 1, so that narrative really is gone. It's still gonna be an interesting tournament, obviously, where, our German boy Bluebaum, I have mixed feelings about this. He's a good kid, and I quite like him. But I don't like people being higher rated than me, especially the Germans. So Bluebaum, drifting far away from my rating. Of course, very painful for me to watch. But shout out to him. He is 1.5 out of 2, doing exceptionally well. Fedoseev looks like an interesting player. Played great in game 1, played horribly in game 2, or badly at least. So, which one is it, Fedoseev? As for this position, I don't like my position. I'm guessing it's all theoretical, but I have no idea what to do. While Hesse James is playing all kinds of very sensible moves. Does not look like he wants to be assassinated by the coward Jan Gustafsson at all. Does this move even make any sense? Somehow it was the first move that came to my mind. But I'm not sure it's threatening anything. Today I'm very obsessed with the h7 square, so I was hoping I would threaten some knight takes h7 business. But I'm not so sure. And B-Rod is saying, hey Jan, I just showed up a little late. Did I miss the Game of Thrones conversation? I haven't actually watched the episode. I watched this, what do you call it? Talk the Thrones, which is probably the wrong order. I listen to this podcast by these dudes, Andy Greenwald and Chris Ryan. And they do an After the Thrones show, which I've studied. So I'm familiar with the plot, but not the actual episode, which is probably not ideal. I sort of self-spoiled there willingly. But yeah, we haven't had a lot of Thrones conversation. This was my point. I'm not sure this makes a lot of sense. Is the knight on h7 well-placed piece? I don't know. I probably should have taken the chance to go knight takes f6 check. But it's more fun to leave this knight alive and hope for the best. But it does not feel right to leave it there. Drama, baby. Alright. I still want to do bad things to you, Hesse James. Just so you know. I don't want there to be any misunderstanding. I have a feeling that this might not work out as well for me tactically as I'd like it to. But I do have very cruel intentions. I want to make that clear. just so that later there is no, oh, but I thought you were a nice guy, like Ryan Philippi in Cruel Intentions. Nope, I wanna hurt your feelings and your king. Bishop d1, I'm hoping knight e8 is kind of crushing, because queen e8, knight f6, queen g7 is checkmate, and after knight e8 I would be threatening all kinds of nasty things. So probably he has to keep this bishop alive and go bishop takes d4, when I still don't know what to do. Here I can go for another picturesque checkmate. A lot of picturesque checkmates today. I told you this is the show where we play interesting chess. So my second queen sacrifice with checkmate. I'm even fuller of myself in this very moment than I normally am. Check out the first game of the show. Very similar final picture. Yeah, I'm glad we changed the tagline to the show where we play interesting chess, because it made me live up to that promise. Ugh, I haven't worn a tie for a while. I forgot how uncomfortable it is. But I also believe this shirt is too small. It's because I put on all this neck muscle weight since I bought that shirt. Therefore, it's very, very hard to breathe. And we have a Grandmaster of chess, Mr. Pawnholder Zlatko Ilincic from Serbia on the program. Rare honor to have a Grandmaster of chess, even though it tells me opponent disconnected. He made one move and then instantly disconnected. Did I scare you by going one knight f3? I don't believe that. And no, he is in fact back. He takes my pawn. Are you an expert on like goofy sidelines where you take my pawn and never give it back? That'd be most unfortunate. I don't really know this stuff. I guess I'll develop pieces. I have a feeling, I could be wrong though. Well, the one thing you don't want to do is go knight g5, queen a5 check. That much I know. I have a feeling that I'm not supposed to overreact to this and just get my pieces out and then have a look around. But I still very strongly dislike being a pawn down. So Mr. Pawnholder is probably, he knows something that I don't know. Which is always very sad to me. When people know stuff and they don't want to share their information with me. Because in these times of ours, information really is all we got. Information and hip-hop music. So I don't know what's going on, but he has not developed a lot of stuff. Therefore, that should be a bit of a silver lining, I guess. 95 looks logical, intending to play bishop to f3. Is this all normal, Pawnholder? Are you gonna tell me this is all in the book? Looks shady, but obviously I won't be able to refute it over the board. Bishop f3, queen d5, yeah? Takes. Bishop c4, bc, queen a4 check, not winning. Too bad. Ugh, I don't want to think. The worst thing you can do in chess is think for too long. So I'll blitz out some moves. Queen d5 looks forced. Then I have to come up with something. Can't do it, so I'll just blitz out moves. Weird position. I still don't trust it, but I've probably done something wrong. Can I go here? This looks like a cute move. Probably not a very good move, but a very cute move. And sometimes being cute is just as important as being good. Still a pawn down though, but he still hasn't developed anything. So it kind of goes both ways. D5, knight e5, or do I go here first maybe? Hey, I just met you. This is crazy. Oh, here's my number, so call me baby. I still have some initiative. Not sure about bishop takes f8. Maybe I should have gone rook a6 immediately. But as we all know, it's so hard to make up your mind, especially when you're dealing with a grandmaster of the game of chess. I'm not sure this is as good as like, what's the word? an Archmeister, but it's still pretty good to be a Grandmaster. Feeling I should have crushed him somehow, but I might have missed the mark. But this check will be unpleasant, no? The horsey. Oh, I missed Queen E8, boy. What did I think he was going to after that check? Probably still in good shape is the good news because of the king. But to not see Queen E8 is a little embarrassing. Still, my position is pretty good. Rook A1, Rook A8. Give me, no? Give me the loot. He did stop Rook A1. But hopefully that rook will find another way in, like Rook E1. Ugh, I wish I was better at chess. That would make things so much easier. EF was bad. Don't know what made me do that. Yeah, I've bungled this to actually a decent extent. No, I'm not sure I'm still better. What have I done to you? Poor position. H3, another dumb move. Silly me. See my calculating face? Trying to win this, but I've really bungled a fantastic position by some very random moves. My queen is not doing a whole lot. Maybe it can make a comeback from this side. No, at least it has sight of some squares. Now the queen is back in business. Her Majesty. I have a lot of attackers, so they should in theory get the job done. But it's too early to relax. Knight D2, is that even legal? Okay, I have no time to be cute, so I'll just grab the queen to wrap up. Probably there were some cuter ways to do this. But a queen is a queen. And you can trust me, pawnholder, that I will not be flagged in a situation like that. Oof, exciting. I had a great position, which I then bungled by multiple oversights. But then, yeah, I think after Rook A1 was probably a mistake, because it allowed my queen back into action. Probably should have started with Rook G4, but Queen B8 was also unpleasant. Yeah, a lot of drama there. Thanks for the game, pawnholder. Who else shall we play? I have a feeling, after this very tough challenge, it is a good moment to give one of the low-rated premium members a chance, because we do not discriminate or prefer by rating on this program. We crush everybody, and by we, I mean myself. I put on a tie, and then I flag people left, right, and center. And this is Hasley Stat 1272, whom I shall employ this trendy line against. It's very much a London system in disguise, because it's the same structure like d4, d5, bishop f4. If black ever goes c5, then takes on d4, and white recaptures with the e-pawn. Knight e5 is probably premature here, so I'll do this same old thing again. And I'll play the maneuver I learned from Vladimir Kramnik, knight a3. Even though he lost his game to Fedoseev, but knight a3 did carry the threat of knight b5. And Hasle walked right into it. This will cost him a piece. And a piece is a lot of material to give against a Grandmaster. Let's just take. Yeah, this is over. A piece is, of course, too much. But since it's the show where we play interesting chess games, I should try to make it interesting. That's hard, because my instincts to grab all the stuff are too well developed. Thanks for the game, Hasle. Am I ready for more strong players? Oh no, this is 3 minutes. I prefer 5 minutes, because it gives me some room to talk about things. You know how it is. Let's play Alistair. Ali's tour? Alistair? Not sure. Nah, I gotta stop doing this. Let's play one game normally. You can't London it up every single game. And against g3, f3 has been one of the trendier moves to make, directed against the Grunfeld. Because after d5, cd5, knight d5, e4, there is no knight to exchange on c3. Well, if you want to play bishop g7, the king's Indian, you're of course welcome to do that. There's also other moves here, like c5, knight c6, e6, e5 even. A lot of things. d6, same thing. Flute later saying, I don't like this giving up so early. Like to watch games until checkmate. But the better you become as a chess player, Flutlicht, the more you will see that people will resign when they consider the situation hopeless at their respective level. And against me, thinly veiled brag. If you're a piece down, your chances will normally not be very good. And that last game, my opponent resigned when he was a queen down, where his chances really aren't very good. This is the so-called Zamish. I played knight g2, bishop e3 is a more popular move, but knight g2 is also seen plenty via different move orders. The c5, d5, e6 is the most common, then the knight goes to g3, ed, cd, and the game continues. Alistair looking up his closet for his old King's Indian theory books. What do they say about the Zamish with knight e2? I'm supposed to go e6, a6 first. What should I do? Knight bd7 I'm not a fan of, because now it's much harder to get in e6, because if you go e6 now, I shall take, and take on d6. Rook b8, he can, of course, try to prepare b5, but it's gonna be very hard to implement if he goes a6. I can't even play a4, thereby making it almost impossible. And now, yeah, e6 will be very tough to do. What are we talking about? Kasparov comeback? Yeah, it's gonna be fun to watch, no? The St. Louis rapid thingy. I don't know, the field didn't look that tough. I would guess Kasparov's gonna do well. I don't think he's a favorite to win, but I wouldn't be surprised if he had a plus score. And yeah, I'm sure he's taking it very, very seriously. Preparing very hard already. Of course, the schedule is good for him, because the other guys, they might be a little tired after playing the classical tournament, also showing their ideas there. Then Gary can jump in and clean house. It's gonna be exciting, always, and tremendously exciting presence to watch Kasparov play chess. So I'm looking forward to it. But other than that, yeah, I have no strong opinions on it. I believe he's gonna do well. He's done okay in these show events, this Blitz he played last time. He's worked with enough people that he still knows what's going on in the opening. Of course, yeah, he might be a little rusty, and especially in rapid, things won't be so easy. But the field isn't that tough. There's no Magnus, there's no Wesley So, right? Therefore, I expect him to do well. Hesse James is saying, Jan, you don't know Hesse James? Nope, I do know Jesse James, but not Hesse James. I will study it. What is that, like a Hessische version of Jesse James? Sounds horrible. See, Hernandez is asking, Jan, were you at the Kasparov Simul in Hamburg 85 versus the computers? How old do you think I am? I was not. I was 6 years old then. I was not heavily into chess. Or in Hamburg, for that matter. Craig Evans says, Jan's normal opinions are strong to most people. His strong opinions are over the top to most. Don't forget, he plans to have his own country. That is a fair enough point, like this Yanistan thing. It will eventually happen, but I don't think that's a particularly strong opinion. To be honest with you, I don't really have opinions on anything. I'm more like, I'm a cynic, like I don't care about anything. So I will pretend to have opinions, or like I will read up on stuff, and then think, oh, this is a smart guy. I'll just pretend to have his opinions, but I don't really have that opinions thing where I feel strongly about stuff. And I stole that from this Norm Macdonald's comedy special where he talked about having no opinions. But I also related to it very strongly because I feel the same way. It's like you need to be passionate about stuff to have strong opinions. There's not that many things I'm passionate about. But of course, crushing Alistair is very, very high on my list of things to do. I did trap his knight here after f4. And therefore, we've had this discussion earlier. If you're down a piece against me, your chances will be not great, but Alistair does have a pawn for it, which still doesn't mean his chances are great, but I would understand if he wouldn't resign here. Actually, I wouldn't resign here. With the black pawn formation as solid as it is, you can continue the game. You shall lose, but you should continue playing. And I still have to find a way to, break it. I was going to say break it like a Polaroid picture, but it's probably shake it like a Polaroid picture, right? Why would you break a Polaroid picture? Knight to e8. Yeah, let's try to open stuff up. Did I say I was a cynic? Now we're discussing the definition of cynic. I don't even know the definition. It's probably because I don't have opinions. And yeah, the lines between sarcasm and irony and cynicism, I don't know, they're all blurry, right? I'm not a big student on what's what. So yeah, I don't really care or know how you define cynic versus sarcastic dude versus, oh, he's so funny, versus, I'm not the kind of guy you can ironic. I should probably look up the definitions, but definitions always confuse me. Like, to this day, I did not understand like where to draw the line between intellect and intelligence. I've tried to look it up like 18, probably 19 times, but I just don't get it. Probably because I'm not that intelligent, or because I'm not that much of an intellectual. That is the big question. Which one is it? I'm also playing terribly, but I know I'm going to win on time, and I'm a piece up. Therefore, once again, hard to have strong feelings about this. Gimme. Let's go back. Because everything goes back to the beginning. I really can't sing. Anyway, thanks for the game, Alistair. What time is it? Still time for like 2 more games, probably. Got challenge from Ich Nicht, but he's not premium. So sad. I want to play you Ich Nicht, but you must have that little crown. Not The Crown, which is a TV show I have not watched, but A Crown. More non-premium challenges. I can't accept those dudes or ladies, even though I always assume it's dudes. It's chess and it's the internet, so it's like 98% dudes, right? Which we should change, but how? Let's play another toughie. GTO. Looks like I played a bunch of games against you. Did we play Bullet? Why did we play so many games? Sometimes I get a little bullet addicted. And we play a lot of those. Ooh, and he's one of those people that will give me a pawn. It doesn't matter how often I voice my contempt for this line. People keep playing it against me, trying to crush me. I still think it's just a pawn. But to each their own. Don't you know it's just a pawn? Give me the pawn. I should not blunder that rook. Now, G. Joe, what do you have to show for your bravery? You're a pawn down with a fairly terrible position to boot. Because I have all these dudes in the center that can... I don't know what that sound was. I hope it sounded creepy. But look at this. Look at my pawnsies. My creepies. Because everything goes back to the beginning. I'm not sure if any of my moves are making a lot of sense. My position is just so overwhelming that it normally shouldn't matter much. Because, you know, extra pawn, extra passed pawn on d6. Booyakasha. Okay, let me focus for a second. Try to get the job done here. Don't see a win yet. Just slightly sad. Must be a win. d7, rook e7. Bishop c6, rook f8. Just checking the waters. Weird move though, bishop c6. I'm not very happy with that choice of mine. Nah. Once again, thinking the cardinal sin of blitz. Just blitz out moves. Always much more effective than staring at the position. Your hand will get the job done. Did that sound dirty? Didn't mean to. So I brought the knight here to cover the e5 pawnzy. And if he goes king f8 or king h8, de5 will be a fairly sad position for black. Therefore, I'm expecting him to take on e7, which will also be a fairly sad position for black. To sum up, black's position is fairly sad. We can't trace it all back to this opening gambit. But yeah, I do not think that gambit he played is very good, even though it has to be said that recently Anish Giri played it, and Anish Giri does not play nonsensical openings, so Anish must know something I don't know. But certainly the way that G. Joe handled this should not find many followers. And I don't mean Twitter followers. I'm fine if you find a lot of Twitter followers, Gicho. I mean followers for your opening treatment in this game. Because you're dealing with these two pass pawns that are kind of nasty. Do I take or do I go here? This looks decent. Run, Forest and Dorist. Reading the chat, Craig Evans. I didn't talk about d7, but then rook e7 I couldn't find a win. Mama Mamu Ededu is saying, Jan, why do you not play the Caro-Can that often? Does not fit your playing style. I play it more often than most other openings. Like, I don't think it's as good or reliable or working as well for me as e4, e5. But I don't dislike the Caro-Can. And I play it once in a while. G-Joe does resign because after rook takes e8, d7 looked a bit unpleasant. Yeah, I've covered this many times on this show. I'm not a big believer in this e5 gambit. But if you want to do it, then you should not combine it with this, because this pretty much resigns after blitzing out some moves, which is not ideal. Anyway, thanks for the game, Mr. G-Joe. Last game? Can we make this the last game? One more game? I'm trying to find somebody I never played before, but we've all played a lot of games already. But I will play Erwin29. Looks like we've never met, Mr. Erwin. Erwin. Why the V and not the W? Isn't Erwin commonly with the W? D4, E5, the Hard Rock Gambit. Congratulations, sir. That is fairly terrible opening. D, E, F6. I don't like people that play... Well, I like you, Erwin, but I don't think it's funny or good for your chess development to play completely nonsensical gambits. Because, I don't know, what are you trying to prove? That you can win the game in spite of being lost after two moves? Because you're so gifted? Or do you think this is the way to keep things entertaining and light and normal chess is boring to you? I'm never sure. But I'm not a big fan of gambits like that. And having said all that, I don't know what to do. That's why I'm very upset. What do I do? I could take on f6, I guess. Bishop c4 looks decent. Just to annoy Erwin, I will ignore his gift. Even though that's inconsistent. I should have grabbed. Now I'm mad at myself. First I insult him for playing such a dubious gambit, and then I don't try to refute it. Even though I am better, like f6 is of course a horrible, horrible move in this situation. But I feel like I should have gone after it harder. And I feel like you should play a different opening effort. Should be 7. Maybe we can bring this to a quick end. Maybe not. Knight h6, I was thinking f5, but c6. And there's still no direct win. That'd be very sad. Even though it looks fairly bad. Queen d1, knight e5, takes. Yeah, let's do it. Maybe I should actually have played knight e5 immediately, leaving my queen on d5, because h5 is a very good destination for Her Majesty. Whoa, takes? All right. Peace up, but might have been a decent decision given the circumstances. Because, yeah, you do something else. Your position is not very nice either. Queen e2 check looks like the most natural, but then king d8, planning a very quick rook e8, bothered me a little. Therefore, I have to play this less exciting, but better move. Queen to d3, after queen g4. I know Gambiteers, like Erwin, they normally are not a big fan if after sacrificing their material, the queens disappear from the board and they're just material down in an endgame. So, let's do exactly that. c4 just to stop d5, knight d6 check. Also looked like a fairly decent move. What's up in the chat? Let me scroll. f5 now, knight d6 seems like the obvious way to go. 7 takes, I guess. Even though, no, I don't want Erwin to have any fun, really. You, sir, shall not have any fun. Sorry. That's a check. I'm not sure if this check qualifies as fun. If it does qualify as fun, then I feel bad, because I don't want you to have any fun, Erwin. We've talked about this. You don't deserve any fun because of your opening choice. But I think the fun is sort of limited. And I understand that I'm probably a favorite no matter what the opening choice. I'm really trying to help because I understand it's entertaining to play like that, but you're just giving such big odds. Let's face it, the position after 1 d4 is a draw. And the position after d4, e5, de is with almost certainty winning for white. So you're transforming a drawn position into a lost position on move 1. And I feel that's too big odds to give your opponent. Then again, if it makes you happy, keep doing it. I probably should be less condescending to the Gambiteers of this world. It's a discussion I have a lot with Mr. Schachonsky. And I also said this was the show where we play interesting chess games, so I should welcome such openings. Thanks for the game, Erwin. Thanks everybody for watching, for getting crushed, for not beating me and thereby ruining my mood, because it's a lovely, what day is it? Monday? I can't tell days anymore because I've been doing these Dortmund shows. And what did I do last weekend? Leon commentary? I've been doing a lot of chess commentary. And I shall do more tomorrow, 3 p.m. This very place. If you're watching this live. If you're not watching this live, 18th of July. And the days after that. I shall be doing commentary with none other than the voice of chess, Lawrence Trent, joining me in the Hamburg studio. Peter Svidler will hopefully join us via Skype when he gets a chance to. And he will get plenty of chances. Game of Thrones is only 1 hour to watch, so Peter will help us out, and it would be great to see you guys there. You need to be a premium member on Chess24 to watch, because the talents of Lawrence Trent do belong behind a paywall. But yeah, I hope it's going to be a fun show. I hope it's going to be a fun tournament the rest of the way. 5 more days for me to do this Dortmund thingy. Then on the rest day on Thursday, I think we have one of these Banter Blitz tournaments. 6 p.m. Look it up. I'm sure. I think it's published already. So yeah, that's all I have to plug. Now what I have to do is visit the bathroom, then probably get rid of this tie. Maybe I'll get rid of the tie before visiting the bathroom, but that's still up for debate. Thank you guys for watching. Apologies for all this nonsense I'm talking. But this is episode 92, if you're not used to it by now. What can I do? Bye.